Hello, hello. Today is August 17th. I want to speak to the healthcare workers in the state of California and Texas. We have been receiving a ton of Kaiser Permanente employees coming to us here at LoanSense for help now that they qualify for public service loan forgiveness. And oftentimes in the state of California, people were coming and they were contracted by private organizations, so they didn't qualify for PSLF. We always recommend did their contracting organization create a memorandum of understanding between their contracting organization and the hospital so that they could get PSLF. Now it's legally been mandated and stated on the PSLF facts on studentaid.gov that it is now legal that hospital and healthcare systems in California and Texas can now officially certify their contractors' PSLF paperwork. So more on this in this video. I'm going to also talk about some news, what's coming out in the news, and then of course, very importantly, we have a webinar live on YouTube coming up this coming week on the 22nd of August. I will be going on with a PA named Wilson Liang. We're coming together and we will take live Q&A. So if you, and a lot of people that work with Wilson, we invite you also, a lot work in California. So directly relevant to the topic of this video. So if you can use this information or know others, please share, please like, and please subscribe. Now on to some of the details, okay? A lot of healthcare workers with older loans have FFEL loans. Those require consolidation. I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about the process to get PSLF and kind of the structures in place from what LoanSense has seen by serving borrowers from Kaiser Permanente already. And I'm going to talk about the news and the type of relief we're seeing borrowers get. If you're interested in any of this, stay tuned. So first I'm going to start with the topic of what we're seeing, okay? I talked a little bit about how California and Texas in the past, healthcare workers with private contractors had issues with getting PSLF. Well, since July 1st of 2023, it didn't make as much media noise, but the Department of Education essentially rewrote the public service loan forgiveness program rules. The rewriting of these rules we'll go over in detail in our webinar, by the way. We'll go over the PSLF rewrite of the rules in July. We'll also go over Biden's new SAVE program, okay? In these new rules, they specifically mentioned healthcare workers. They also mentioned adjunct professors and how to count the credit hours for adjunct professors, okay? Again, the rule is to be counted full-time is you don't have to be considered full-time by your employer. You have to work an average of 30 hours. So some people will come to us and say, well, I work 130 hours over the month. I don't necessarily work 30 hours every week. Could I still get PSLF? The answer is yes, as long as the average is over 30. And what's great about what we do at LoanSense is we essentially fill out the paperwork and state the average hours so that the employer doesn't write something that will be deemed disqualifying by Mohela, right? So that's part of our process, but an average of 30 hours. And as long as the sponsoring, so how PSLF works is the sponsoring hospital nonprofit entity has to sign the public service loan forgiveness paperwork. That means that you can't just go look at your pay stub to get the employee identification number. You have to actually go ask the hospital system for their legal employer identification number, because that is what's going to have to be stated on the public service loan forgiveness paperwork. It has to state you work an average of 30 hours with the exact start date of your employment. We have seen from working with borrowers already that early loans, like as early as 2007, have been able to be certified even though the rules have literally just changed this month. So keep that in mind. If you have FFEL, family educational loans, those must be consolidated. People's concern is, oh, consolidation is going to count the loan from zero. Well, because of the income-driven repayment waiver program, it will not be counted as zero. So I would get consolidating and enrolled into this program ASAP, definitely before October. Another thing we've seen is people who have been paying their loans for almost 20 plus years and have been in the consolidated standard repayment plan, those do not normally count for public service loan forgiveness. But we're still encouraging people to consolidate their loans and apply for PSLF because the income-driven repayment waiver is more generous at counting payments. So I state that because we have helped people in the past who had FFEL loans consolidated and did get their payments count. So all the details on that are not released under the PSLF new facts, but just know that we have a history of helping people and they have gotten their payments counted even if they were in consolidated standard of 30 years in the past, okay, because of Biden's new IDR waiver. So it's still worth applying for the consolidation and moving your loans over to Mohela. Okay, so I wanted to state that. If all this information is super confusing and you are a Kaiser Permanente employee, please do reach out to us, get a free analysis in our software. And of course, enrolling into an income-driven plan is important, but just know that even the standard repayment of 10 years still counts towards public service loan forgiveness. Okay, I wanted to mention that. So another really important piece is if you're married and how you file your taxes impacts what your likely payment's going to be. So it's really important to get advice, especially if you're married and tax filing's not coming up, not too long. Oh my God, I can't believe 2023 is almost over. Just understanding if you should consider filing married, joint, or separate. Another thing we're seeing from people's loans getting transferred to Mohela because they're becoming public servants is their federal student loan file doesn't necessarily align with actions they took during the pandemic with a prior servicer. Like their loans will get transferred, they'll get enrolled in standard, and they wouldn't have recognized that they had enrolled in revised pay-as-you-earn earlier. Really make sure that you have documentation from your prior servicer or get screenshots before it's being transferred, especially if you're consolidating and voluntarily moving your loan over. Make sure to take screenshots, evidence of what plans you've enrolled in, evidence of when they say the deadline is, because you do not want to roll over your loans to Mohela and not have the documentation transfer properly. We've seen that in many, many cases already. So make sure your current servicer, you take screenshots, get documentation of any enrollment into income-driven programs, because that does impact the deadline of when you have to refile your paperwork. And if you filed your paperwork in like 2020 and 2021 and have a much lower payment, you don't want to have to be forced to recertify with a much higher payment because you make more money now, okay? That is really, really important, especially to, I know Wilson's clients, people who were encouraged to enroll and certify, consolidate their loans after graduating with public service jobs with a zero payment. It's really important you follow that advice before you do your public service loan forgiveness transfer, is to make sure to have documentation from your prior servicer. I hope that really, really helps. We're here on standby. A lot of Kaiser Permanente and healthcare workers are also asking us, should I consolidate my loans? The answer in the majority of cases, if you graduated recently, is you do not need to consolidate your loans if you have direct loans. So a lot of people are coming to us saying, I need to consolidate, and it really is not necessary for those with direct loans. So if you're confused about whether you need to consolidate, you should ask us. We're here on standby to ask us if you need to consolidate your loan. What's great is once you come into our software, you connect to your student loans, so we will see what loans you have automatically, okay? That's the best part. And so we can then help you make the decision if you need to consolidate or not, if you need to consider filing separate or not. We cover all that in the session with our advisors here at LoanSense, and they're trained on all those decisions. Lastly, I want to touch some of the news coming out right now. not just from our own experience, but in the news as well. Mohela is having a huge backup in wait times if you're trying to call in and get help with your public service loan forgiveness applications. By the way, I have student loans. Mohela is my servicer as well. We're going to go over tips in our webinar on August 22nd on what to do to make sure you're ready for repayment. Stay tuned, join us, hit the live. I'm going to link in this description below. I'm going to link to two things, the PSLF facts, and I'm also going to link to hit to notify you of when we're going live. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time on the 22nd of August. I'm really excited. We'll take live Q&A. So if you want to get your questions answered, come to our live Q&A on the 22nd. We are staying informed with all the updated rules with PSLF, okay? And, I'm sorry, by the way, so Mohela, now that all these servicers, what I was talking about before I started promoting the live was there's documented people waiting like 144 minutes, 120 minutes, a hugely long wait time. So if you're going to get moved, if you're going to move to Mohela to get PSLF, I do it sooner rather than later. You do not want to be waiting till October when all the payments kick in and people start panicking to move your loans to public service loan forgiveness. Literally, repayment, the pandemic pause ends in 12 days. What is your action plan? Like, we're going to cover that in the webinar, but also you need one regardless of whether you can come or not. We give free plans on our site. And so legislatively, Congress is trying to do something about Mohela's poor service at this point in time, and we'll see what they come up with. Either way, I'll keep you updated. Although the servicer wait times are long, I want to tell you from the results we're seeing from borrowers, they are getting more forgiveness than ever before. So, that being said, we cannot wait to help you. If you've made payments during the pause, you can get those refunded. If you need a transfer to PSLF, if you're trying to buy a home, various goals you have, and you just need peace of mind, help achieving them, you can get a free plan at myloansense.com. Again, I will link below the PSLF updated facts and the live to notify yourself to join us on the 22nd of August. We cannot wait to see you there.